Hey guys, I'm live. I know, and I got this background noise. It's really annoying. So please tell me if you can hear it. And my computer is acting really slow. So let me get rid of some of these tabs here. Oh, they're getting on my nerves. Getting on my nerves, child. I wish they would just stop. Everybody wants to mow the lawn at night because it's cooler at night. So I want to come to you today because we have our family planning for elderly care. I'm Allegra, the marketing medulla. Most of y'all know who I am, but if you've never met me, I have been in business for well over, oh my God, it's just too long. So just say close to 20 years. And when I think about business and what it means so much for a lot of people who want to create legacy and sustainability, and that delves into family and it delves into so much more. But that's really where the heart of the matter is. And as I'm talking to some of my clients and people in my community, I'm finding that at my big age, okay, this is when we start to see more people that need more care. And one of the things that I do is talk about these things because we have to be very transparent and honest about what it is that we're experiencing. As we grow our businesses, we're also growing as individuals. We're also raising families. We're a whole person, and then we take care of a whole other people. So we got to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. And family planning for elderly care came out of the need because there was so much going on in my own family. If y'all haven't already heard my story, as a business coach, I started in business years ago. Didn't know what I was doing, but really knew that I didn't want to work the 9-to-5 lifestyle. That's one thing I knew for sure. And as I grew my business, I started, I still worked in a 9-to-5, but I realized that throughout that process, I had to build some like really strong emotional barriers and also understand how to do certain skills like sales and marketing and all those great things, right? So hence, years later, I'm watching as, I'm really developing my business, but then out of nowhere, y'all, this is the crazy part. My mom started to, see that my Nana, my grandmother, she was going through like a semi like depression, right? And the doctor even told her, she was like, yeah, you need to go get her. Like, she's not doing well. And that was really interesting to have happened the way that it did, because once that happened, things spiraled because there was no preparation for anything from, understanding what happens when you get depressed when you're older, or if you've had like real serious conditions that has really put you in a spiral, physically, emotionally, where your body just starts to kind of, go downhill a little bit more. That is something that you just don't know when to expect, what to expect, how to expect. And so as my mom was telling me these stories about, having my grandmother, that was real interesting that, we never really were prepared for it. And it's not really something you can fully prepare for, but I do want to share some of the things that we have done. We have actually, seen work. Everybody's situation is different. So you don't know what's really going to work for you until you try it. But throughout the whole process, and even working with some of my previous clients, like a shout out to Auntie Desh, because she knew before anybody did. She said, y'all are going to need adult family homes where people can have that love and support and care that they would normally get from their families. Because the truth is, at 60 something years old, we're living longer. We may not have the capacity to want to care for, an elderly adult while we are still trying to live our lives. And so there's so much involved there, like emotionally, mentally, physically, because you do have to have the strength and capacity to handle the physical work sometimes. And I'm going to talk about that in these lives. I'm going to talk about what it actually looks like when you have to, really get not just physically prepared, like do your research, look into different resources that are going to support you in finding out like what elderly care is and what you would need if any of your family members might need that support. Yeah, it's giving me a connection issue, so make sure it's connecting. This is when I wish I could like quickly go to one of my other phones, but if y'all been following my journey, I told y'all I deleted all of my apps from my phone. So I have to log into my computer now to get to my phone, to get to my apps. So I'm going to, I'm just trying to see if it's acting up on the Facebook side. So y'all excuse me. But yeah, so, just being very real about the journey of entrepreneurship and how it can turn very quickly. And that can really impact your business to the point where, and thank God it can be a benefit if you've been in business and you have a sustainable measure. Like, this is why I tell people, build a team, have people that can support you, have people that can really like hold you when you need to like dip out, right? Like hold your space. You need those people, because the honest truth is that you're not going to be able to be 100% all of the time, all like every day, all day. There's going to be so many times where you're going to need people to step in when you have loss, when you have grief, when you have anything that you need to tend to. And the purpose of building a business, in the way that I teach my clients, is to be sustainable. That means that from the beginning, we teach you how to build a team. And some of those things are really difficult because you have to get past the mental barrier of looking only to yourself. And so even with what I've seen in elderly care, right? I've seen that a lot of times we're not looking. Child, this is breaking up. Hold on. Y'all, give me 1 second, because I'm really, really about to like go lit crazy. Hold on. Let me see something. It's so weird, y'all, because it's breaking up. It's showing all kinds of weird like things. It's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. Hopefully y'all can hear me, and it's just going to have to manifest itself into the clear view. All right. But I'm going to continue this conversation because it is necessary and nice. If you can hear me on YouTube, I'm going to go ahead and leave a comment. Can you hear clearly or see clearly? Well, can you hear or see clearly? That's funny. I'm asking Nisa to tell me if she could like actually see this broadcast clearly, because for me on my end, y'all, you can hear me? Okay. So on me on my end, it's so weird. It's just like glitching. But anyway, we're just gonna keep it moving. It was a glitch. Okay. Girl, whatever. We're gonna keep it moving. So here's what I think is so important for us to understand is, like, as I was talking, I was also multitasking. So excuse me if I wasn't really giving my divided attention to see who popped in. So hey y'all. But I think this is really important because we have a lot of loved ones in our family that we know eventually down the line we're gonna have to support. And there's just some reality about that I think that we don't lean into until something happens. So here's what I was telling, I was talking to my mom about it, and I said, Mom, you're taking care of Nana, and and my Nana took care of her grandmother, and my mom was there for that. So my mom has been around to like see what that looked like and to see what elderly care kind of conforms into. But the intentionality comes around being able to say, well, I know that that's going to happen eventually, but how early on can I really start looking to plan for it? And I say as early as possible, like early, early, early. And the reason I say that is because as I'm looking at some of the things that my mom was doing with my Nana, I told her, I said, let me step in, let me support you as a caregiver, and let me be there for my Nana, because guess what? My business is sustainable. So if I need to leave and go do something outside of, wherever I'm at or travel, I can do that. And it was just a benefit to be able to do that for my 90-year-old grandmother who has spent her entire life dedicating herself to other people. And so I get to now, look at the benefit of what, business can really do. And that's what I look at, like legacy and building relationships with family members, because you work hard in the beginning to get to the end result. And then I looked at the care part, and y'all listen, it takes something to care for someone, because it's not only about some of the conditions, because some of the elderly care comes with like dementia, Alzheimer's comes with, all kinds of different ailments in the body, like, arthritis. And you have there's a lot of different things that you learn, right? Like there's something I recently learned, and I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I recently learned about sundowning. And just thinking of, like, I was like, there's no way I would have known to know that if I wouldn't have been around to see like how my mom takes care of my grandmother, and me to step in to even do some of those things. But I think like we have really lost a lot of family community values. And so when we do a lot of things, we're doing it the way we want to do it, but we're not actually coming together. And so I joined forces with my mom, and I was like, well, listen, you're not going to do this alone. And sometimes we want to do it alone, and that's the poison. Like, don't do it alone. Do your research, number one, okay? Because you'll find that there are so many legs to this thing. There's medications. I was talking to Dr. Al, who's going to join me on one of these live streams. I think maybe next week he'll be joining me. My mom as well. She took care of her brothers until they passed, and taking care of her sisters now. Yep. So she would be perfect for this conversation, because she knows that there's just, it's not even just a level of just physical care, right? It's not just, get your nails done, your hair done, because people have lived their lives a certain way. Like my Nana is a little bougie, y'all, like just a little. So not getting her nails done and having her out, like just whatever. I've been checked on that. Like, I have been checked on, like, oh, so you took a picture where her toes are not done. So there's some things that even, for the healthy mindset of the individual, sometimes even as an elderly, you still want to keep yourself up. It helps with your mental health, because every time I see my Nana look at her nails when her nails are done, like she just got them done at the salon, and she'll look at them and she'll show everybody her nails, and she'll get really excited, and she will have, like, we'll just like praise her. Like we'll just be like, oh my God, they're so pretty. And they will be like, she really is a little fancy. But even when she dresses and things like that, like there's just certain things I think we have to be mindful outside of just the basic needs care. Because shout out to Auntie Desh, because as one of my former clients, she had provided this caregiver's guide, and we actually still use it. So if you need the caregiver's guide, we offer that, usually, as a download. But this has helped so many people, because it has, and this is what I'm going to read off of it so you know what to look out for, because some of the forms that we have used to really check the elderly care process, and this is something you have to consider before you actually get anything done. You have to do your research and see where you can get the support. There is always a resource in your state, and I will look for the links, and I will post it in this live and in the comments for y'all. But each state has resources for you. If you know that you have someone in your family that is elderly, and they're now living with their sisters or living with family members, like they're no longer in their own home, you have the opportunity to claim them and say they don't have a home. Like they're dependent on me, but they don't have a home. So the state provides resources. They have Medicaid, Medicare, things like that, but the state will provide resources. And the thing about it is that it goes from resources that stem from living, so residential resources where you can get good living resources. Like my Nana lives in the high rises in Midtown. She lives in the high rises in Midtown. You don't get that just by, saying, hey, like, let me just go ahead and that's stressful when you have someone that's elderly and they don't have like a paycheck anymore, and they're not getting paid a lot of money, and they didn't have a lot of resources, right? That may not be your experience, but for most people that is, right? And then now you're the family member that's caring for them. That's a burden now, because as the entrepreneur, taking care of yourself and your business, that was your responsibility, and maybe your family, but now you have a whole nother responsibility. So you have to look at how to really manage that. So start looking and researching now, looking in your state resources, and it can go from living to transportation. My Nana has concierge services, y'all. Like, I'm talking about, like, we get escorted everywhere when I'm with her. I thought she had my account. I was like, you get concierge services too? So she, y'all know I don't like to drive. So she's very well taken care of. I'm talking about to food. Like a lot of times, people that I've spoken to recently about family care when it comes to elderly care, family planning when it comes to elderly care, some of the questions I've asked, because as entrepreneurs, we're like, what if I'm struggling, right? If you're struggling, you may feel, sorry about that, y'all. My dad calling me. He might need something. I'm calling back in a second. But he may be struggling, like they may be struggling and need like food and all kind of resources, because if you think about it, you already have a food budget. Like, you already pay like $200 $400 a month depending on your family, right? And now you have a whole other person. So it would be great, like, if they lived with you, preferably, right? Because my Nana, we got her resources where she got to live on her own, honey, so she's taken care of that way. But there's also resources where if they're elderly and they're living with you, then they actually get an opportunity to be cared for by you, and you actually get to receive benefits on behalf of taking care of that family member, just as if you were their caretaker. And I don't want y'all to miss out on that, because this thing can be very stressful, not just emotionally but financially. And I don't care how much money you make, I don't care, what kind of job you have or what kind of business you have. If you are not prepared for this, it can really hit you in the gut. And not to mention, and this is kind of where I'll end it, because I only want to spend like about 30 minutes here with y'all to talk about it for the first one, because are you really prepared? And this is going to give you an opportunity to like ask me questions in the comments, come into the DMs, because a lot of my entrepreneurs do have parents or grandparents that they're caring for. And depending on, and we're living longer, so it's not like, we're not going anywhere anytime soon. So if we know how to do things, like Dr. Al is going to be coming on next week, and he's going to be talking about preventative care. And we're going to be, what is it going to be? It's going to be cancer management and preventative care. We're going to be talking about that, because we do have some elderly that do have, actual conditions, you know, illnesses that they're dealing with. And that's going to be a really heavy part of one of my Win Community projects. So stick around for that. He's going to be joining me next week, like I said. And this conversation, I want his expert advice on pain management, on management of medication. He's also, and some of the things that we went over when we were just talking, like I said, Dr. Al, there's so many people throughout these months that are really, like suffering, because even with the Men's Health Awareness Month this month, like, people don't even know that. And we're celebrating that in so many different ways. And one of the biggest things that I asked Dr. Al is like, what areas do we want to focus on? And he said, well, I'm a cardiologist. He said, I specialize in infectious disease. He said he specializes in pain management, preventative care. So all these things that he specializes in, I said, well, let's just bring it to the forefront. Let's start talking about some of the areas when it comes down to general care, even when it comes down to us ourselves. Like, some of the things that I'm doing with my Nana, and y'all can check out the Instagram page that I made, just so y'all can follow the journey. And I'll start posting that on my YouTube video clips as well. But my Nana loves our daily walks. She loves the food that I make for her. Like I make it fun, like a game, because the truth is that outside of their medications, outside of their doctor's visits, outside of their general routines, because you have to have a really good routine every single day that they can follow, especially if they have like dementia or things like that. Keeping them, and that's why this is really important to do your research now and start looking for support where you don't have it. Because if you can't keep a good routine for them, if you freak out and you can't keep things in order, it's going to throw them off. And like I said, myself and my mom were having conversations now about sundowning. And that is so new to me. And so I'm just, doing my research, always looking at opportunities to share with y'all, tell you what's happening, with Nana. She's 90 years old. So, there's always something new going on. And just tell me what you want me to share. There's, like I said, we take her blood pressure every day. So there's certain things we do every single day that get done. I will always suggest it. Like, if you're not constantly taking these measures, like, it doesn't have to be anything wrong to take your blood pressure check every day. It's just making sure that you see the consistency in how, her health is, or how their health is. Same thing with, like, we have the caregivers guide. So I'm gonna show you like a couple of sheets, because these things right here are the bomb. You can actually take, like, this right here has a part where what we do is we actually tape the medication, like the pill, we tape it to the circle. And in each slot, we actually say what the medication is, and we have information on, like, the doctors, who they are, their phone number, right? And also, like, we have personal data sheets in there. We have appointment sheets, but these are just helpful solutions, because if you are not actually, looking at ways that you can prepare yourself for this, and being guided in that fashion, then a lot of times, when you hit that bump in the road, you start to, really kind of fear what's to come. And that's kind of what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that if you're not prepared, it can present a lot of fear. And this is why I'll end it, because fear comes from emotional discomfort, right? Like, if you don't feel good about something, you start to become afraid of what it is or what it isn't, whatever. And one of the things I've noticed is that, there can be a lot of grief that comes along with this, right? Like, there can be a lot of fear of loss that can come along with it. And I think that if we're being very real about that, that's a real human emotion. It's something that you have to really prepare yourself for it. And even when it comes down to financially, because I believe that, as I was talking to my mom, and I'll just share a little secret with y'all before I get off, right? So as I was talking to my mom, I was telling her, I said, I think that therapy really helped, because I, had this thing with my mom. I was like, if we're going to have a relationship, yo, we got to go to therapy, because we got something going on. And we did. And for a few months, we had great, great talks, and we got to rebound, reconnect, understand each other on different levels of who we are. And that allowed me to see my mom in such a different light, because we're all women first. And when I looked at, where she was really having the most struggle, it was really not just around the physical part of, like, okay, I don't have the time. It was also emotionally, like, just being in chaos, being in overwhelm, feeling like, you just can't get things done, or don't have the support or the help. That stuff really does weigh you down. And then you are also experiencing a loss of someone. If you have, like, an elderly with dementia or Alzheimer's, or one of these conditions that, really takes away from who that person used to be, that can be very detrimental, because emotionally, and this is something my boyfriend, shout out to him, really put me on to, because he was saying that emotionally, you're really just losing that person. Is kind of like a death in a way, and you're losing them while they're there. I think my boyfriend said that. If not, it was my sister. So shout out to both of them, because they're both amazing. But I just wanted to really end there and just make sure that you all have an opportunity to just kind of go through this journey. Get the guide. It's complimentary to you. I just want to make sure that you have it. I will put the link in the chat. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay. I'm very tired. I'm ready to get out of here. I have not eaten a full dinner yet, so I'm definitely going to do that. Flat iron this hair. Thank you, Jesus. And make sure that y'all tune in. I was going to start it this week, but I'm going to start it next week. And in the Business Mastery membership, we are having our end of day reports. And the end of day reports are basically at the end of your day, especially if you work a 9 to 5 and you are looking to, leave your 9 to 5 mindset and start the business now. That means that you have to be working on things now. And we have the Business Mastery membership that really provides a lot of resources. We have a library there of resources. We have a private access Facebook group. We do impacts all the time. We have group coaching sessions. We have workshops. And most importantly, when it comes down to some of these resources that we provide for you, you get to get them complimentary whenever we show up in that group. So make sure you join into our spaces so you can get more information about how to really structure yourself. But that's really all I got for y'all tonight. Y'all follow me for next week's conversation. I'll be promoting that with Dr. Al. I hope that he shows up. But I'm going to go eat something and enjoy the rest of my night. Y'all do the same. All right. Thank y'all for listening.